If Real Madrid are to make a comeback in 2026, here are 4 measures Xabi Alonso must take to ensure that. Now it's fully confirmed Endrick is going to Lyon. If you had any hopes for, Endrick coming into the starting 11 in 2026 for Real Madrid, nah, the move to Lyon, it's completely done. Fabrizio has confirmed it completely. In June, Endrick is definitely going to return to Real Madrid, which is good news. But then, Real Madrid still find themselves in a very tough situation. And then 2026, that's the final lap of the season. And then we need perfection to come back into not just the Champions League race, but the La Liga race, Copa del Rey race as well. And this is what Xabi has to do. Now, the first on our list is Vini Jr. Xabi Alonso has to teach Vini control, mental control. Vinicius, an excellent player, excellent physical abilities, dribbling abilities, fast and all of that. But then, we all know this, Vini lacks mental control. I mean, he gets reeled off easily mentally. Xabi, who is definitely one of the calmest players and also a very calm, intellective manager, he has to teach Vinicius control. Ancelotti, rather, did not do that. I would say Ancelotti kind of spoiled Vinicius because Vini became a star under Ancelotti, and for that reason, Ancelotti spoiled him. Xabi has to teach Vini control. In all the games, Vini has been substituted. I mean, after playing like 70 minutes and more, Vini, you see him complaining. The El Clasico, the recent game against Sevilla and that. But then he forgets his countryman, Rodrigo, was sitting on the bench. And Rodrigo has proven himself to 2 different Real Madrid managers, Zidane, Ancelotti. And yet, under Xabi Alonso, he found himself on the bench. But then Rodrigo wasn't making too much noise. He started against Man City, rather, and then did the job. And since then, he has been a starter for us. Now, it's that kind of humbleness Vini needs to learn. Because I'm not trying to say Vini needs to be out of Madrid. No, Vinicius in no way should leave Madrid. He's an excellent talent, but he needs to learn mental control. And the perfect manager to teach him that is Xabi Alonso. Now, the second measure is finding the perfect defensive line. We've seen Xabi Alonso altering, we've seen so many defensive combinations in the season. And you can't really blame Xabi much for that. Because at the start of it, Xabi's defensive line was Militao, Hausen, Carreras at left back, at right back, Dani Carvajal, Valverde, Trent. Because, you know the situation over there. So yeah, Militao, Hausen, Carreras, they were the constant 3 at the back. The 3 defenders who were at the back. But then injuries, red cards, it has alternated it a lot. We see Rudiger, we saw Militao till he got the injury, we saw Fran Garcia. We've seen so many faces in that defensive line. And that's why our defense has been looking very shaky. Very, very shaky. Sevilla were slicing through us like hot knife on butter. It was very easy. Talavera scoring goals against us. That's a 3rd or 2nd division team. And then, it's not that the defenders themselves aren't good individually. They are. But then, a defensive line, they need to know themselves, play with themselves for a number of games before, they can achieve perfection. That's why I suggest Xabi needs to find that defensive line. And if you ask me, he should go with the players who are rarely injured, hardly injured. Asensio, I have never seen Asensio injured. Maybe once. Asensio, very injury resistant. Carreras as well, very injury resistant. Hausen flickers a lot, but Hausen offers us a lot aerially, so I really want Hausen to be in that. For Rudiger, for Alaba has been, I really don't know if Alaba is, he just comes to model the new Real Madrid kits and then he calls it a season ever since, the 2024 season. But in any case, Rudiger has been off his mark lately. You can't blame him. Age definitely influences the way a player plays and that. But then still, he's a warrior. But still, Rudiger is a warrior. I'll take nothing away from him. But then, in my opinion, Asensio has to be in there. Hausen, Carreras, we should stick to this. Now, the right back position is still left empty. And that would lead us to the 3rd measure Xabi has to take. And that is trusting the youths. Now, we've seen two youth fullbacks, David Jimenez and Valdepeñas, play, and they both played very well, very, very well. David Jimenez played against Talavera, and Valdepeñas played against Alaves, Deportivo Alaves, yes, and he was very good in that left back position. But then Carreras is occupying that space. So if you ask me, Valdepeñas should be a sub. Carreras can't possibly play all games. Valdepeñas should be he should be the next in line, learning from Carreras directly. And then for the right back position, Trent is injured, Carvajal is injured. We don't always want to put Valverde as our right back because I believe he offers us more in the midfield. You know, more breaking line runs and all of that, more long range passing and all of that than as a right back. So David Jimenez, Xabi needs to seriously train that kid within this time and the start of, the games in 2026. Xabi Alonso needs to train the youth. Garcia offers us a threat aerially, just like somewhat of how Yuselu, played for us back in the 23-24 season, which is very, very nice. So we should definitely, have him top of our list. And then the last, but definitely not the least, if you ask me, is the most important actually, is the team spirit. The team spirit. Now, you remember the El Clasico, you saw the way everyone played with fire, with cooperation, hunger to score, hunger to defend, hunger to press. That is it. He needs to bring that back, but not just for El Clasico, but for all games. See, these days when we are losing games, you hardly feel like, can we actually make a comeback? But under Ancelotti, you'd be seated like, oh, definitely we're going to make a comeback. Definitely. Because Ancelotti might not have had the best tactics in football, but there was something Ancelotti was very good at, which is the soul, the spirit of players. Ancelotti had that ability to reach out to the soul, to the player feelings and make them actually give out, play their hearts on the pitch. Ancelotti had that ability to make players give their hearts on the pitch. That was why, you remember the 21-22 season Champions League run. That was, not much tactics were involved over there. But then it was the players' hearts. That was all that delivered us. That's what Xabi needs to learn. He needs to learn how to raise this team spirit. Make everyone just go for it. Just go for it. We are Real Madrid. It's the biggest club in Europe, in the world even. These players need to play feeling and knowing that they have to give it their all. Wearing this badge over here, it means something, and you have to play according to what it means. That's just it. Now down in the comment section, let me know your thoughts on this and let me know what other stuff Xabi needs to do for Real Madrid to be back on their feet in 2026. That's all for today's video. Catch you guys next time.